Draw or fade, which one's better? And do I need to be able to do both of them? You know, ultimately, I think that if you're going to be an elite ball striker, you should be able to hit the ball different trajectories, different curves on command. I thought it might be helpful to make a video, you know, going through some shots and how would I actually go about hitting a draw versus a fade, look at some TrackMan data. Because I think if you can, you may hit a majority of your shots the same way, but if you can learn to hit shots different ways, I think that just makes you more prepared for situations that you're a little bit uncomfortable with. Plus, I just genuinely think that most good ball strikers can curve the ball on command. So I've got TrackMan set up, we've got a target out there, and anytime that I'm trying to work on curving the ball, I almost always have a station set up where I have a stick on the target line because it helps me visualize where the ball is going to start and then where I want it to finish. So I'm going to start out by hitting a 6-iron. I've got my T150 6-iron, and we're just going to hit some draws, and I'm going to explain the two different ways that you could do this. Some people can create a draw dynamically, and then some people need to do it more through their setup. I tend to be someone who tends to just set up fairly straight to hit different shots, and I kind of create them, but there's a totally legitimate way of setting up right or left to create that curve. So let's go through just a standard draw, and we'll look at the TrackMan data too of like what does it really need to do to hit a draw. So let's just start very basic 6-iron. All right, so that started, as you can see, that started pretty far right and drew left of target. So from a club path perspective, that was 6.4 degrees and the face was 3.4. So first thing people always say is like, what's the face supposed to be for a draw? If the face was 6 degrees open like the path is, and I'd have a big block. If the face was too far shut, I'd hit too much curve. And so, you know, trying to have those things be in like a 2-to-1 ratio is generally pretty good. Okay, let's hit another one. As far as the other numbers, I was 87 club, 125 ball, you know, 176 in the air. I'm not totally warmed up, but I would totally take that shot. It was very center. Let's do another one. Again, I'm aiming very straight, and I'm creating the draw through swinging right. I may even swing a little bit more right as we go, just to create more curve. That one was a little better. 88 club, 126. Again, club path is 5.6, face is 4.6. So it's not going to be a lot of curve to the left. Just going to start a little bit right. It's going to curve left. Remember, the ball is going to start a majority of the time where the face is aimed, and it's going to curve off of the path. So when I'm trying to hit a draw, I definitely want the ball to start right. So again, when I have this visual of this stick right here, it really helps me understand like how far right I want to start it. Okay, let's do one that gets like crazy far right. Okay, because sometimes, you know, you might have something in your way and you may want to curve it quite a bit. So let's try one. Again, I'm not changing my setup yet. We're doing all of this from a very neutral setup. So I'm going to feel like I'm coming a little bit more from the inside and a little bit more face rotation. Yeah, that was a little higher, probably a little bit shallower. Didn't hit it as good. I kind of towed it a little bit. But the club path was 9. You know, so 9 would be pretty far right. If you're someone who swings 9 degrees right, you're probably going to hit a lot of really big draws. And that was kind of an interesting shot. It would have been fine. I would have been happy with it. It ended up pretty close to being on target. Okay, now let's do some fades. Okay, and we'll come back to the draw here in a minute. So I kind of naturally tend to draw my iron, so the fade is a little bit more uncomfortable or a little bit less natural. But, you know, one thing I've kind of learned through my golf game is like the more that I aim left to hit a fade, I tend to just hit it left. I don't necessarily curve it back to the right. My face gets a little bit shut through my swing, so hence why the draw kind of makes more sense most of the time. But I've kind of learned to be able to create the fade from a fairly square stance. The one thing that I do to help hit the fade is I start moving the ball up, because as I move the ball up in the stance, it's going to give the face a little bit more time to close, which helps me start it left. All right, here we go. Going for the fade. All right, it started left and it kind of stayed left. Fairly good strike. 3 degrees left and the face was basically the same, so it was kind of a pull. Okay, so one thing that's really good about hitting these shots is you kind of start to vet how in control of a shot am I? Like if I were to go play and hit that shot, that probably wouldn't be very good. So I would need to spend a little bit extra time on my fades if I anticipated I was going to have to do that. Let's try that again. So ball slightly forward. I'm going to really try to hold the face open as I swing left to hit the ball that starts left of the stick. Yeah, that one was better. Started left and cut just a little bit. It would have ended up left of target, but it was a pretty good shot. Ball speed was good. I did not get the path number, not sure why, but it definitely was close to what I want. Let's do one more. Again, I'm not doing anything at address. I'm just trying to create these shots. All right, actually, I can't say that. I did do one thing. I moved the ball up. I tend to have the ball pretty far back, which fits the draw. So when I'm trying to hit the fade, obviously, it needs to be a little bit more up. Ooh, that was really good. Hopefully the shot tracer got that one pretty good. So I would say that was pretty blueprinty. So that was a club path of 3 degrees left. The face was a little bit open to that. And so it was a really nice cut. 125 in the air. Didn't necessarily get all the data, but it was a really, really good shot. Okay, so let's talk about if you struggle with just dynamically creating the shot like I was just doing. Well, then I think it becomes very easy to hit the curve just by changing your setup a little bit. So let's go to the draw. And the first thing that we're going to do to hit the draw is we're going to change our stance line, which is going to potentially shift the path more right. So the only thing I'm going to do in the beginning is I'm going to set my face like normal, but I'm going to close my feet just slightly, making sure that the ball is still staying back, because if the ball is back, that's going to also shift the path. So at address, the face almost looks slightly closed as I'm trying to swing along my body line. Yeah, that was pretty good. Club path on that, 6 degrees right. Center strike, 125 ball speed. Face was definitely close to the path, but still right of target. Okay, let's do that again. Same thing. I'll go through my routine here. So I'm setting the face at basically at the blue stick, maybe slightly right of it. Feet are a little bit closed. You can see that line right there is no longer parallel to that. I'm set. I feel like I'm aimed way right. And I got to make sure the face gets going left. Oh, lost my balance, but pretty good shot. Yeah, curved plenty of left. 7 degrees right. And face is 4. Again, I'm definitely much better at hitting the draw. You can see my relationships of like the face to path are much, much better. Okay, let's go to the fade. Now this is where I generally, if I'm going to hit the curve left or right, I generally like to set up for it because I just have a hard time creating it dynamically, as you saw earlier. Okay, so the one thing I like to do with the fade, besides my ball position, is to basically set the face open at address. So you can see my feet are definitely pretty healthy left. I would anticipate this path is going to be anywhere from 6 to 8 degrees left, which is fine. And now I've got my face pretty open at address because now I have the face aimed more down the white stick. All right, fade. Yeah, that's a lot better. Definitely produced a little bit more curve. Okay, club path 6.4, face 4 degrees left of target, but open to the path, so it produced a really nice fade. Okay, again, it's either you either need to be able to do these things at address through your setup, or you need to be able to create them dynamically. And I think everyone is a little bit different. I can easily hit the draw just from setting up normal, for my normal setup. But for me to hit the fade just requires a little bit of a setup change, which is totally fine. The more that I do stuff like this, the more I do like 10 ball sets, seeing how often can I actually do this stuff, I kind of start to learn, you know, my limitations or what's likely going to happen. Okay, so feet are open, ball position slightly forward, face is open, and we'll swing. That started left, didn't cut much, cut a little bit. That shot would have been fine though if I was playing. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, so going fade again. So face is at the target, feet are left, ball is forward. I've got to remember to hold the face a little bit on the downswing. Again, my face tends to get a little bit shut on the downswing. I have to really feel like it's staying open, more toe up for me. Yeah, that was a really good one. Okay, so in summary, I think it's important for good players to be able to work the ball. Practicing working the ball is a skill. Like if you just go to the range and hit all the same shots and then you go play, you're not going to have a ton of control. So I would recommend setting up this station, put a stick on the ground, practice curving it around it. You'll kind of realize if you're good at one of the shots and bad at one of the shots, which will ultimately help you when you go play, because you'll probably avoid that thing. And the next time you're at the range, try it. I guarantee this will help your ball striking.